Hello, good people. I had a very healthy conversation with a brother, and some of the things we discussed will be good to add to the collection of historical materials about the Hebrew people that we are building up on this channel. As I said, this gentleman is my brother. We have the same set of direct ancestors. That means we have the same grandfather, the same great-grandfather on our father's side. I found the conversation and the discussion very healthy because I'm not saying this with any iota of arrogance. This gentleman is very well educated. If I say that this gentleman is very well educated, people could think that it's arrogance on my part to judge his education. I'm judging his education because we are discussing a historical, cultural matter, and I'm not saying he's not very good in these matters, but I'm the #1 authority on Igbo culture and history today. So I'm in a position to say this individual is well educated on Igbo culture and this individual is not very well educated on Igbo culture. Basically, my brother has a very solid basic education. I will explain in the course of this talk why I said he has a very solid basic education, because this helped us to come to terms rather easily. I told this brother that, or rather we were talking about Igbo culture and Igbo religion, and at a point he offered that he is a Christian and that as far as he knows, Omenana is our tradition. I knew that I had some explanation to give, because I don't know how you can separate religion from tradition. The Catholic Church, Islam, the Anglican Church, the Pentecostal movement, Christ Embassy, Living Faith, Redeemed Christian Church, they all have traditions. Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, every religion has traditions. So I knew that I really needed to solve this problem. And I quickly caught in that our religion is Omenana. You may have become a Christian, but as far as I know, your subliminal, which is your traditional religion, is Omenana. Just like the traditional religion of the Roman people is Roman Catholic. The English people is the Anglican Communion. The Igbo religion is Omenana. And Igbo may be in it or may not be in it. That's not important. But the important thing is that no Igbo in this world has any traditional religion besides Omenana. So, but before we got to all these points, my brother wanted to know, since according to him he has become Christian, should we go back to worshipping of idols? I said, as far as I know, my own ancestors did not worship idols, and I will elaborate on this a bit. My ancestors were called Ndi Ogomwo, worshippers of spirit. Spirits don't have forms, idols have forms. I wouldn't like us to belabor this very well. What the missionaries did was that they convinced the Igbos they took into the missionary schools that the Igbos were idol worshippers. But they couldn't tell the Igbos in Igbo language that they were worshipping idols. You can only say in the Igbo language that a traditional Igbo worshipped idols. You can't say it in the Igbo language, because the Igbos call themselves Ndi Ogomwa, worshippers of spirit, in their own language. And let's not get into the further details of explaining that the Igbo language does not have a word for God and deity in the small letters. It only has words for God, deity in the capital letters. So when he said that, I said, as far as I know, my own Omenana knew only the worship of God. But this was after he had said that his own grandfather worshipped Akpata. I'm a few years younger than him, so I saw the things he saw. I knew that Akpata was a river. in our locale, I quickly understood what was happening. And I told him, well, my grandfather, who I suppose is your own grandfather also, as far as I know, he worshipped CHI UKWU. This gentleman cut in and said, through Akpata, I understood the problem. Akpata was a shrine, or is a shrine, just like the shrines in the Catholic Church. There is the Marian shrine, the shrine to Joseph, the shrine to Peter. St. Peter's in Rome is a shrine. What is a shrine? A shrine is a place of religion. All the religious places in Mecca are shrines. But that's not the way the missionaries taught the Igbos about religion. And this is where my brother's sound basic education came in. He's educated in the United States of America. So it was easy for him to understand when I said that our grandfather worshipped CHI UKWU and not Akpata. And he cut in by saying, through Akpata. It's very unlikely for somebody that had all his education in Nigeria to take back what he said immediately and come close to seeing the truth and the obvious. Because most people in Nigeria assume very wrongly that Christianity and Islam are the only religions in the world. Most people in Nigeria do not know that the world has over 10,000 religions, that Nigeria itself has over 300 religions. But because this country was colonized by the Hausa Fulani, to some degrees, they were the largest indigenous colonial power. I call them indigenous because they were in Nigeria before the British came, and that's why I call them native. But when the British came, they also came as colonizers. So the religion of the Hausa Fulani and the religion of the British became the quasi official religions of Nigeria. So most Nigerians, no matter the education they have, assume very wrongly that Christianity and Islam are the only religions in this world. And because they do not know about the existence of other religions, they do not respect them. And what you do not respect, you hardly think it is worth examining. But because this guy studied in the US, he could draw back a bit and think about what I was saying, and right there on his feet, he acknowledged that granddaddy worshipped CHI UKWU, that is God, but through Akpata. Where I needed to correct him, and I did, was where I explained to him that he did not worship CHI UKWU through Akpata, but he worshipped CHI UKWU at Akpata, at the shrine at Akpata. When I visited Israel, I visited Rachel's tomb. There is a shrine there. There is a shrine dedicated to Abraham. There is a shrine dedicated to all the patriarchs of Israel. I visited all these places and I prayed. So, you come to my community. When I visited my community in 2002 with the erudite Jewish anthropologist Daniel Lees, who wrote one of the soundest histories of the modern Igbo people. He's a Swiss. He's Israeli. We visited okwu. Okwu, by the way, is the word for shrine in the Igbo language. Okwu Akpu was a shrine dedicated to one of the ancestors of our community in Ozobo. It was set up in a grove. By the way, traditionally and in ancient Israel, most of the shrines were set up in groves, in forests. We visited the Okwu Akpu, where we meditated and prayed. So, see the beauty of it. I'm not saying this because I do not have respect for the country I hold its nationality, but I'm pointing out the weaknesses of the system. Because Nigerians generally assume that Nigeria is not doing well because it's not doing well because it's inherent because it's not doing well. But that's not the reason. Nigerians, unfortunately, do not have the right information in most things. If you do not have a good culture and a good religions, you can hardly master technology. The United States is the power it is today because of American culture. The typical Nigerian has all the talents, all the inherent abilities the typical American has, but American culture is different from Nigerian culture. There is a course I have taught severally in America. It's called Myths and Rituals. The state of California took out time to see that it doesn't make sense. We will not be producing future generations of people who will rule the world in the science and arts if we do not know about some people that are in America. So this course, Myths and Rituals, simply goes into teaching the students about some cultures that are not the majority culture, about some religions that are not the majority religion. But the Nigerian state, at all levels, even at the Igbo levels, keeps keeping the Igbo people in the dark, keeping Nigerians in the dark, that if you are not a Christian and a Muslim, you don't have a religion. In the 21st century, if people do not know that Nigeria has over 300 religions, how can Nigerians know more complicated things? So it was a thing of joy to me that my brother has the right education, and this enabled us to have this very, very fruitful conversation, which I urge you to think about very deeply and see how you are going to use it to improve yourself. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.